Today we are going to discuss about some thermal properties, that what type of thermal properties we have to study in this section. First of all, when we use the word thermal, so basically we are talking about a type of heat, or in other words, we can say sensible heat. Sensible heat means we are only talking about that type of thermal energy that can be easily sensed by someone or can be measured by some instrument, right? Just like we use thermometer to measure the temperature of a body. So it means the heat we provided to the body is sensible. If you are not able to find the change in the temperature of a body, or if you are not able to identify the change in the temperature of a body after supplying the heat to that body, so that is not sensible heat. So basically, there are two different categories of heat, but in our syllabus, we only need to talk about sensible heat. In your new syllabus, the other type of heat is now removed, so you only need to study about sensible heat. And it is sensible in the sense because heat that brings a change in temperature of body.
Sir,
Yes,
where this is this topic thermal properties.
right.
Okay.
Basically, yes. Basically, thermal physics, in the thermal physics section, there are only three chapters, right? So we will cover all the topic, but we link different topic with, like, with the previous topic that we studied. So in this way, we will cover whole chapter, whole section, right?
Okay.
Because last time we discussed about kinetic properties, so you all know about it, and you all have good knowledge about it. So it is not necessary to extend that same topic for revision for a long time. So that's why we started heat topic today. And for sensible heat, it is given before or after the state change process. So basically, let's suppose if we talk about rubber material, and that if you want to melt that rubber material, so definitely you will provide heat or thermal energy to that rubber material. So rubber material starts to melt, or it starts to expand. So that is called sensible heat. And the other type is latent heat, but we are not going to talk about it because latent heat is no more a part of our syllabus. So that's why we only talk about sensible heat. So this is the concept of sensible heat we are going to discuss in our whole section of thermal physics. Secondly, when we provide thermal energy to a body, like there are different states we already studied. There is liquid, there is solid, gases. So when we provide thermal energy to different states of matter, so you will get different results also, different results for all in the form. Let's suppose if you have 1 kg of water, 1 kg of metal, and 1 kg of gas particles. So when you provide same thermal energy to all of them, right? So their like we can say consumption power of heat, or like the amount of thermal energy absorbed by the particles are different from each other, right? Like if we have metal, water and gas, so definitely the temperature of metal rises first, and water takes some time to increase temperature, and gas particles, or we can say the energy of the gas particles starts to increase, and they further move away from each other because of the energy we provided to them. So we need to also study all these properties, that what happens to gases, what happens to solid, what happens to liquid. But before that, we need to talk about a journal concept which is called specific heat capacity. So it will help you to identify the amount of heat for specific material or specific type of matter. Specific heat capacity. So specific heat capacity is a very simple idea. In this, we can identify the amount of heat needed amount of heat needed to bring a unit change in temperature in a unit mass of substance. Okay, so for this definition of a specific heat capacity, let's suppose if we consider a solid block. So if we have a solid block and also we have a glass of water, let's suppose, or any container filled with water. And also we have a container of gas. So in this container, we have gas particles. So we have three different states of matter over here. We have solid, liquid, and gas. Okay, basically we don't know exactly about gases because in daily life we are not experiencing any type of experiment that is related to the gas. But for liquid and solid, we know many things about it. That what happens when we transfer thermal energy to the solids, and what happens to the liquid when we provide thermal energy to them. So basically, if we provide same thermal energy to all of them, same
Then there is an, sorry for interrupting, but there is an example for gas, like cooking, we use gas.
Okay, basically for gases, we are not going to talk about any specific type of gas, right? Because in this section, we are only talking about the basic idea in the form of molecules, in terms of molecules. So we only need to study about the ideas with the terms of molecules. We are not going to compare any specific material, and there is no concept of any specific type of material in your syllabus, right? So that's why we are just comparing states always. You can see I just only mentioned solid, liquid, gas. I'm not writing any specific name like we are using copper, we are using like glycerine or a specific type of gas. So we only need to study about their basic ideas, like the concept of the heat with the motion of the molecules, right? So we can easily relate with other types of gases or other types of solid and liquid. So we just need to know about journal idea, and that journal idea can be easily applied to all types of gases, solids and liquids, right? Okay, so basically in this topic of a specific heat capacity, you observe that it is mentioned amount of heat needed to bring a unit change in temperature in a unit mass of a substance, right? So basically, if we are taking same mass, like this is 1 kg, so there is 1 kg of solid, 1 kg of liquid, and 1 kg of gases filled in a container, because in definition it is mentioned unit mass. Unit mass means like you will take any specific quantity, 1 gram, 1 kilogram, so it's up to you, right? Like 100 gram, that is also we considered as a unit mass, like constant for all. We are not taking like different masses, like different for solid, different for liquid, because we have to test that which material absorbs heat quickly and which state of matter absorbs heat slowly. So we have same mass, 1 kg. Secondly, we have to identify unit change in temperature. So let's suppose if these three materials are at room temperature. So all these materials are at room temperature. And just for example, the temperature of all states of matter are equals to 25 degree. Just for example, it is not exact value. They will not ask about any specific value. This is just for example we are writing. So now we are going to provide thermal energy to all of them. So we are providing heat to solid, we are providing heat to liquid, we are providing heat to gas. So same heat or same amount of heat is provided to solid, liquid and gas. So what do you think, which material absorbs heat quickly or the temperature of that material rises first?
Liquid.
Liquid. Okay.
Can you please repeat your question?
Basically, we have three different matters. They have same mass, same temperature. We are providing same heat to them. So which state of matter increase its temperature first as compared to the others?
Sir, gas.
Gas, okay. Okay,
Sir, I also think it would be gas.
gas. So some of you are with liquid, some of you are with gases. Anyone with solid? Okay, in chat,
Metal, sir.
metals, okay. So one answer, one is also for solid. So basically you all are like partially with solid, liquid and gases. Okay, so basically the temperature of solid increases first, right? And what is the reason? We will do
Because
like
solid um,
they have
does not
fixed
move in a
structure.
lot of.
Yes. So basically they are tightly packed so they can easily transfer energy to the other particles. So that's why heat can be easily transferred, right? So we can say that the temperature of the solid increases first. And if the temperature of solid increases first, it means it absorbs less amount of thermal energy, right? Because in short time, temperature increases for solids. So it means the solids materials are consuming less amount of thermal energy. Liquid takes more time than solid. It means it absorbs more amount of thermal energy. So temperature of solid increases first. It means solid absorbs less amount of heat. And also we are using term specific heat capacity. So specific heat capacity of solid is greater or less. So the amount of heat absorbed by the body is less. So it means the specific heat capacity of solid is also less than liquid and gases, because solids are consuming less amount of heat. And in definition, you can see it is mentioned amount of heat. So if solid is consuming less amount of heat, so specific heat capacity of solid is less than liquid and gases, right? So we can also write specific heat capacity is less for solid. And if we mention the reason also, so reason is also simple. We are writing reason that why specific heat capacity is of solid is less as compared to liquid and gases. So we are writing reason about it. So reason is very simple.
They have sharp melting point.
Okay,
This is the reason.
basically we are not going to use any specific terms. Like if you are using the term melting point, so you have to define melting point for all the states of matter then, right? And in first chapter, we only discuss kinetic properties, like with respect to molecules. So in whole chapter, we are going to discuss with respect to the concept of molecules, right? We are not going to use any specific other term. We are only focusing on the concept of molecules. That is important because you need to know that what is going on in the background of solid, because in daily life we heat up solid, but we are not able to observe, or are not able to see the motion of molecules because those particles are very tiny. So that's why the main purpose of this chapter is to study the motion of the particles in solid, liquid, gases with thermal properties, right? Like how they react when we provide heat, how they react when we use in different experiment or in different conditions. So this is the main purpose of this chapter, to study the motion of molecules for all states of matter, right?
Okay, sir.
Yes. Because if you compare old syllabus with new syllabus, so there are many topics that is removed from new syllabus as compared to the old one. So that's why it is also important to study only those topics which are now included in your new syllabus. Like if someone have old book of O levels for physics, so definitely he or she will find some topics that we are not going to discuss in our class because that is no more included. Just like latent heat. Latent heat is previously added in old syllabus. So that's why I'm just mentioning, or we are only talking about those things that are included in your new syllabus, right? I will also share the syllabus file with you after the class, so you can also check that what topics are included in thermal section. We will like shuffle those topics because we will link those topics with the previous one. So it will be easy for you to understand. Like last time we discussed about molecules and today we are talking about heat in terms of molecules. So it is easy for you to understand. So in this way, we shuffle the topics from the syllabus, but we complete all the topics from the syllabus. Okay. So the molecules are close to each other and they can transfer energy quickly to the other molecules. So again, you can see we are only talking about in terms of molecules. We are not like giving any reference of law, any specific terms. We are only using the concept of the molecules. So this is the idea that due to which the specific heat capacity of solid is less. Secondly, if someone asks you about specific heat capacity, that specific heat capacity is a material property or it is depending upon a mass. So what do you think about it? Question is, let's suppose if we compare three states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. And let's suppose if someone asks you that specific heat capacity is a material property or it is depending upon mass. So which statement is correct? Do you
Material
think
property.
material property?
Depending upon massing.
Okay. So basically, if you again check the definition, so in definition, it is clearly mentioned in a unit mass, right? So it is mentioned over here, we are using a unit mass. So unit mass means mass is constant for all. So we are taking same mass of all bodies. And you can see in the diagram, we also use 1 kg mass for all. So mass is same for all the bodies. So it is not depending upon mass. It is a material property. Okay. So if we have same quantity of solid, liquid, gas, and we are providing same thermal energy to them, so definitely we are talking about their material, the type of material, that which material is a good absorber, which material is a bad absorber of heat. So specific heat capacity is actually depending upon the material nature. So basically this concept or this property is independent.
Sir, we are writing from like apart from the reason.
Yes. Because sometimes they ask in MCQs that a specific heat capacity is a property of, and there are 4 options. So we got confused because in definition we have a concept of a unit mass. So some students think that it depends upon mass, but it is not depending because we are using same mass for all the bodies. So it means it is independent of mass because mass is already fixed in our definition. So it is a material property and hence can be regarded as material property. So any question, any confusion till now in this topic of heat and specific heat capacity? If
No, sir.
anybody wants to ask anything, so
No, sir.
okay, because there is a formula of this topic also, so that's why if you have any question before that, so you may ask or clear that concept, so then we will continue with the formula of this topic.
Then the last sentence, this property is referring to specific heat
Specific heat
capacity.
capacity, right? Because
Okay.
we are only talking about that topic, right? When we change the topic, so I will let you know.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
in paper they ask write sensible heat property. So he can write these properties.
Basically, they will not ask. I will also show you the question from the paper once we complete this topic. So I will also show you the question from paper. Like you can see, I have already a worksheet of MCQs and the question answer. But to solve these questions, we have to like get some knowledge from different topics. So then we are able to attempt those questions, right? So for definition, they will not ask like very much definitions in papers, right? Like there is a 50-50 chance either you will get definition or either you will not get definition in paper for all the topics that they are going to ask in paper, right? So it is not compulsory that they always ask about definition, but if they ask about it, so mostly they ask about like the terms or the laws, like specific heat capacity we discussed. So they will ask about it. If there is any law, so they will ask about that law. So in this way, they ask questions, right? Okay, so it is not depending upon mass. It can be regarded as material property. Now, if we write down the formula for this specific heat property concept, so you can write down formula like this. C is equals to Q over M delta T. So in this formula, this symbol C represents specific heat capacity. So the
This is
symbol,
the
hmm,
formula to find the specific heat
yes,
capacity
right.
Okay.
So
of
the,
any mass,
yes. So
of
basically,
any state of
yes,
matter.
for any state of matter, solid, liquid, gas, because we are only talking about general idea. Okay.
Okay.
It can be applicable on any type of state of matter. So we are using symbol C from the term capacity. So specific heat can be represented by the symbol C, and Q represents the amount of heat, right? Or sensible heat, you can say. Just use the term heat. It is not compulsory to use the term sensible heat because they will not ask about any question related to sensible heat. They only use the term heat. So it is clear that we are talking about sensible heat. M represents the mass of the body we are taking, like unit mass. And there is a sign of delta, delta T. This triangle is called delta. So Delta T means change in temperature. Because in definition we discuss a unit change in temperature is required. So if we are at 25 degrees Celsius and temperature increases to 26 degrees Celsius, so there is a change of 1 degree Celsius in the temperature. Let's suppose if initial temperature is 40 degrees Celsius and the final temperature is 48 degrees Celsius. So when we find out delta T, so delta T represents T2 minus T1. So that is equals to 48 minus 40. So this is the concept of delta sign.
Sir, what T means
T is for temperature.
and the triangle?
Triangle means delta. This symbol is actually called delta. I will mention over here. This symbol is called actually delta. And we mention or we use this sign in formulas to show the change, right? So whenever you got this sign, so it means there is a concept of change in property or change in quantity of that specific topic that we are talking about. Like in this formula, we are using T. So it means we are talking about change in temperature. Let's suppose if it is written with Q, like delta Q. So it means there must be some change in the amount of heat. If it is mentioned with delta M, so it means there is a difference in the masses or we are comparing two masses somewhere. Okay. So this is the formula and this is the idea of the quantities we are using in formula. So any question in the formula?
No, sir.
Okay. So,
No,
Sir,
sir.
hmm,
can you all the things that you wrote in green, can you explain again?
okay. Basically we started from a specific heat capacity, right? And before that we discuss what is heat actually, right? So we are only talking about that type of heat that shows you some change in temperature of a body. Because once you get the change in temperature of a body, so it means that gives you the idea that we are getting heat from somewhere or we are getting heat from the source. Like if the temperature of uh, the things going to be increase in daytime, so it is the indication that there is a sun that is providing thermal energy, so that's why the temperature of the bodies in the surrounding are increasing, right? And in the nighttime temperature decreases, it means now there is no specific source of heat in our atmosphere. And secondly, we talk about specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacities like is the properties of states of matter, all type of states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. And in this concept, we actually talk about the amount of heat, that how much amount of heat we have to supply. Let's suppose if we are taking water and a copper. So water is a liquid state, copper is a solid state, and we are taking same amount, like 10 gram of copper, 10 gram of liquid. So when we provide thermal energy to both of them, and we are also measuring their temperature. So the temperature of copper rises more quickly as compared to the water. And the reason is very simple, that the molecules of solids are very close to each other and they can easily transfer heat throughout the molecules or throughout the body. The molecules of liquid are not very tightly packed, so they take some time to transfer energy during the motion between their states. So that's why specific heat capacity for solid is less as compared to liquid and gas. So the smallest specific heat capacity is for solid, then we have liquid, then we have gas. Because gas molecules are far away from each other moving in random direction. So definitely they required more amount of heat to change their temperature. And then we discuss that it is a material property. It is not depending upon the mass. And then we have a formula. C is equals to Q upon M delta T. C represents specific heat capacity. Q represents heat. M represents mass. Delta T represents change in temperature. That triangle symbol is for delta. That always shows you some change in any quantity that we are writing with delta. Okay.
So, sir, under the heading change in temperature, where you are telling that T represents the change in temperature,
Hmm.
the where you have written T1 equals 40 and T2, can you explain this?
Okay, basically this is just for example. Let's suppose in question there are two temperature given. Like initially body is at this temperature and after providing heat, body rises its temperature to this one. So definitely you will get two temperature to compare. To find out the difference, you at least require two values, right? So initially the body have 40 degree, and when you provide heat, body gets 48 degree. So now you have to find out the change. So 48 minus 40, there is a change of 8 degrees Celsius in the temperature during this whole process of heat transfer. So this is the simple idea. Okay. We will also discuss in examples that how to find out this, right?
Okay, sir, got it. It's easy.
Sir,
Hmm.